Okay, this is part two, debating the four most controversial names in fantasy football this year. In part one, we talked about Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
We debated whether we were in or out on their ADP, and the video got so long, so much good conversation that we just decided we have to have two parts. So this is part two. We'll talk about the third and fourth most controversial names according to the tweet that we put out. Do us a favor, go ahead and drop a like to show some love. Subscribe if you like fantasy football.
Come on, baby.
And just let us know in the comments below, if you don't mind, hey, who do you think is the most controversial name in fantasy? Whose ADP is out of whack? Who do you feel like isn't deserving of their ADP? So let's go ahead and get to the third most controversial player in the tweet that we put out. This player was mentioned the third most times, and that is a running back, Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, boy.
So Jonathan Taylor on Underdog is currently the RB8, and Sleeper he's the RB5. So I'll ask you, Badake, and then we'll have a debate here, a little healthy conversation back and forth. Are you riding or dying with JT? Are you in or are you out?
Oh, I am 100% out. I don't want any part of Jonathan Taylor coming into this year. And at this very moment, I mean, it's honestly the elephant in the room. Is he going to play this season? Right now, he has his holdout with the Colts. Jim Irsay hit in the drama with Jonathan Taylor. But not only that, this quote-unquote injury that he's dealing with, it was a back injury, is a knee injury, ankle injury, whatever injury it is, I don't think I'm actually in on it anymore. And oddly enough, it's not only about Jonathan Taylor why I am out, him as a player. I think it's about the other people that are on this team. But before I kind of get into that, he is my RB15 right now. And that sounds crazy. That sounds absolutely crazy. I respect Jonathan Taylor as a talent, okay? I respect Jonathan Taylor as a running back, and I do believe he is a league winner. But at this very moment, if the season started right now, whenever this video is out with the information that we know, I'm pretty sure I will confidently say that Zach and myself, well, I won't say Zach, the community will have question marks if we should even be drafting Jonathan Taylor, right? Now,
Sure, I think that's reasonable.
Now, if Jonathan Taylor was at practice, he didn't have any of the drama, whatever the case may be, I would still be out on him. He will be my RB9 right now if there was no drama, okay? So I'm not liking the ADP. So I guess I would say I'm in on him on Underdog Sleeper if he was playing right now and healthy, and out on Sleeper ADP. But the real reason why I'm out is because I did bring multiple videos about Jonathan Taylor two to 3 weeks before all this nonsense happened with Jim Irsay. So I'm more concerned about the quarterback play. I'm more concerned that this quarterback, the Anthony Richardson, to throw his name out there, Anthony Richardson is going to take a lot of opportunity away from Jonathan Taylor on the goal line, in his attempts, and so on and so forth. Now, every single year, we always look at running backs and offenses that have mobile quarterbacks and say, we don't like to draft those running backs in those offenses, right? We can think of Kyler Murray. We can think of Kyler Murray. We can think of Josh Allen. We can think of Lamar Jackson, because we don't like to associate and draft those players because they are connected with mobile quarterbacks. And if we are seeing Anthony Richardson in this light of being the quote-unquote elite prospect that he was, breaking records all over in the NFL Combine, still being a project, of course, but if we're projecting and seeing him in the light that a hypothetical Justin Fields had a season this past year, let's say he took 40% of what Justin Fields did this year, I'm not necessarily sure if I want to be investing in Jonathan Taylor at this ADP as my running back one at this current moment. I'm just out on the offense. I'm out on the Jonathan Taylor's opportunity that we're going to be seeing coming into the 2023 season. And I wrote an article about it because I really try to do the research of the history that we've seen an elite prospect, mobile quarterback, and an elite running back playing together. And honestly, it's slim to none, right? Like I can't think of one in the most recent times. And you have to remember the quarterbacks that Jonathan Taylor's also played with. Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, and Carson Wentz. All these guys past their primes, and all these quarterbacks are pocket passers. I'm not necessarily sure if I personally want to be relying on a mobile quarterback like Anthony Richardson raising Jonathan Taylor's ceiling even quote unquote higher than I would say some of the community maybe is envisioning potentially. But maybe I'm putting words in the community's mouth. But at this very moment, I am out on Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, RB5 on Sleeper.
That is that's a first round pick for JT.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if he's playing with Anthony Richardson. I think that is so difficult in my eyes.
Okay. I mean, we're doing the exercise based off of this ADP. So based off of this ADP, both on Underdog and Sleeper, I'm out. I am out. And that could change with his situation changing.
Absolutely.
I think if you're one of those people who are like, but you said you were out. Well, situation is important. You have to stay fluid. This is a tough part of being in an industry. It's either you have take lock if you don't change, or either way you lose as an analyst. But what I'm saying is we have the right to change this. Everyone has the right to change their opinion if the situation changes.
Mm-hmm.
But as of right now, yes, I'm out. He's my RB9 in my rankings. So I'm below Underdog. I'm below Sleeper.
Yeah.
And, I did have a look at some previous season analytics, some stats that he put up. But honestly, I don't think that would be helpful at all in evaluating what JT will do this year.
Mm-hmm.
It would be good to know what he's done so you can see his ceiling. We all know that. We know what his ceiling is. But that's not going to help us indicate what will happen this year. New offense, new head coach, new system, new quarterback. We talked about it. You talked about it. I just don't think if anyone's bringing any sort of analytics from previous seasons or, hey, this is what happened 2 years ago, this is what happened a year, it's just not helpful. It really isn't in projecting this year. And the JT holdout is going to get really messy. It already is really messy.
Yeah,
here's where I have hope, and that's why he's my RB9, and I still think that there's hope, because what running back in the right mind and what agent in the right mind can actually say, yeah, a holdout's going to work well for me. The last time that happened was Le'Veon Bell, and it genuinely destroyed his career. Honestly, it destroyed his career. And he even announced publicly, he was like, I'm sorry, I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, Jim Irsay is just driving this wedge between the player and any sort of any sort of coming back together. So I really don't know. I mean, they're talking about the NFI lists. JT isn't perceived well by the team. So at this moment, I'm out if those are the prices.
Yeah.
Because right now, you're having to draft him over or around Tony Pollard, Chris Olave, Devonta Smith, Derrick Henry, Saquon, Devontae Adams. No, I'm taking all those players at current ADP over Jonathan Taylor. And at the end of the day, what if he comes back week 2 or something? I mean, surely it's figured out before the season, but the only way you take Jonathan Taylor in my mind if he's your 4th player.
Exactly.
And I don't think he's falling to the 4th round.
And that is exactly what I was going to say. Sorry.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
And that's why I have him so low. RB 15, I think, in my opinion, is reasonable, because when I look, and you're looking at, if you're doing hypothetically a mock draft, say you're at the turn, you took Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, right? You get a wide receiver in the 3rd round and you hope JT is there. That's going to be a decent return, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But drafting him as RB5, RB8 even, middle to 2nd round.
Yeah.
Zach, the players that those Zach was mentioned.
RB9, I'm kind of concerned.
Exactly.
So I'm just thinking this through right now. Today, would you draft Ramondre over Jonathan Taylor?
Absolutely. In the situation now,
I think I would.
Currently, yes, I would. I would do that with Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe Mixon. I think it gets great by Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I think you're right on Joe Mixon too. Oh, that's so tough. Yeah, he might be. I mean, right now I'm thinking about it. He might actually be my RB13. The more I actually dive into this.
Yeah, there's a lot of running backs there that I would rather take.
I would really love to have the comment section. Tell us what they think. Healthy, open debates.
Please.
This
you stupid.
Be respectful. Yeah, you guys are so dumb. I stopped listening when you said no. Those classic comments. It's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Classic. Thanks for commenting. Okay, so the 4th most controversial player in ADP that we had on the Twitter poll that we put out, or we put out a tweet that you guys mentioned, was Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor's teammate.
Yeah,
People want to hear our thoughts on Jonathan Taylor. On Underdog, he's a quarterback 11. In Sleeper ADP, he's a quarterback 16. So my opinion changed when I researched this topic, but I would love to give the floor to you first and find out if you're in or out. And I have some very strong talking points, I feel, for my take here.
Sure. This one's very hard. In a one quarterback, I am out. That's okay. How about that? In a one quarterback with the ADP, I am out. In a super flex league, let's have a conversation, because I think there is some hope for Anthony Richardson maybe being your QB2 in a super flex league. So let's start off with a one quarterback. One quarterback, once again, I am out. He is my QB22 currently. And look, kind of like what I mentioned in the Jonathan Taylor take, we are projecting Anthony Richardson to be this Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type of player. One of the biggest things coming into this season, or when Anthony Richardson coming into the NFL, was his accuracy, his touch. But there was no question that he was going to be a quarterback that is going to be able to rush and be a threat in open space and in the goal line areas. I mean, we have to remember how big this guy was. 6'4", 220 plus pounds. If I'm not mistaken, he's gained even more weight coming into the NFL preseason, and I think is going to get better. The offensive line is a decent offensive line, and Shane Steichen has developed quarterbacks. Now, like I mentioned, if he does even 40% of what Justin Fields, I would even say 50% of what Justin Fields did this past year, that is a good return on Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, coming into this year. So right now, my QB 22 and a one quarterback, I still feel more comfortable taking an Aaron Rodgers, all these other guys that if I see him there, and I'm obviously, you want to win now in every redraft league, you want to win now. That feels a lot more consistent. Now with the upside with Anthony Richardson, maybe you could pick him up off waiver wires later on. But in a super flex league, I'm interested in taking him as my QB2, being one of these late round guys. Let's say you're doing a late round quarterback strategy. I know Zach did a late round quarterback strategy this past mock draft that we did, and if I'm not mistaken, you did take Anthony Richardson, or if not, you could have had Anthony Richardson on your team with a top 10 quarterback ceiling, because you're drafting him at his ceiling, and that's what we're hoping for. So once again, one quarterback, I am out. Super flex, I am in. I'm in the super flex.
All right, so there's a lot of good late round quarterbacks this year. However, I don't think any of the quarterbacks going around Anthony Richardson have top 3 upside. I do think he has top 3 upside.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about this. The only reason to be in on Anthony Richardson at these prices, a rookie quarterback, is if you believe that he can lead the league in rushing at the quarterback position. That is the single only reason for you to be all in on him at this ADP. What I did is I looked at the last 5-6 years of quarterbacks who led the league in rushing, and I looked at their ADP pretty much for most of them the year before they broke out or the year before they did well.
Yep.
In 2022, Justin Fields was a quarterback 20 in ADP. He finished as a quarterback 6, and a per game, I think he was better. In 2021, Jalen Hurts was the quarterback 12 in ADP. He finished as the quarterback 9. In 2020, Lamar Jackson, quarterback 2, finishes the quarterback 10. That is the only name on this list that did not meet ADP. And correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it was because he was injured for not for most, but for a good portion of that year. Then in 2019, same guy, Lamar Jackson, drafted as a quarterback 10, finishes as the quarterback 1. 2018 isn't helpful because Lamar Jackson led the league in rushing, but he only played like 5 games. So 2017, Cam Newton, ADP of quarterback 9, finishes as the quarterback 2. Every year, the quarterback who led the NFL in rushing returned their ADP, except for the year Lamar Jackson was injured. So now we're looking at 2023, Anthony Richardson, quarterback 11 ADP or 16 in sleeper. Where will he finish? So I believe he can lead the league in rushing. if he starts 15 games. But the question is about his passing. What if I told you in 2017 when Cam Newton finishes the quarterback 2, he completed just 59% of his passes and he threw 16 interceptions? That sounds like an Anthony Richardson rookie year. 59% passes completed, 16 interceptions. As crazy as that sounds like an Anthony Richardson rookie season to me. So as crazy as it sounds, again, like it's possible for him to be a very bad passer and still be a top 5 quarterback, if not top 3.
Yeah.
So what I did is I looked at all 5 of those seasons from those quarterbacks, and they had a couple things in common, right? The seasons I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
They all played 15 games. They all had 139 plus rushing attempts on the year, which means they averaged 9.3 in a 15 game span. So, and the minimum passing yards was 2,200. Fields had the lowest. Everyone else was over 3,000 yards. So the question is, first, will Anthony Richardson start 15 games? I believe he starts week 1.
Agreed.
Check. Second, can he average 9.3 rushing attempts per game? I would be shocked if he doesn't hit that number every single game, personally. Mm-hmm. So, yes, check. I think he can do that. The third question is, can he put up at least 2,200 yards or ideally hover around 3,000? I don't know, but oh my God, I want to be on this ride to find out where it goes. So I am officially saying, I can't believe this because I was so strongly out before we did this, but I'm officially saying that I'm in. I'm in on Anthony Richardson this year. I love him as in a one quarterback. If you wait on quarterback till round 10, 11, 12, I mean, yeah, you could take an Aaron Rodgers that, we talked about, a Russell Wilson, you could take a Matt Stafford. Those guys have top 12 ceilings. They don't have top 3 like Anthony Richardson does, in my opinion. So I think Anthony Richardson might be my stamp it, staple it on favorite late round quarterback in a one quarterback league. It reminds me again, the year in 2019 when Lamar was the quarterback 10 in ADP. In 2021, Jalen Hurts, the quarterback 12 in ADP. Last year, no one in on Fields because he had no weapons and he had, a really rough rookie season. Quarterback 20 ADP. I know it's a little bit different, but I see no risk at the moment in a one quarterback league. So yes, I'm in.
Yeah,
I am in on Anthony Richardson.
The only rebuttal that I would have for those numbers is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, none of those numbers that you brought were any rookie season stats for those quarterbacks. Was that
Lamar Jackson's would technically be.
Okay.
He started a couple games at the end of the year, but Lamar Jackson's would be.
I think that's the only skeptical.
Jalen Hurts would also technically be because he started, I think, 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, before. Yeah. So if you say like a full 17 game pace, then yes, but depends on how you look at that.
Depends on how you look at it, yeah. And I think that's why I'm a little bit skeptical, because in a quote unquote rookie season of somebody playing 17 games, we haven't seen that, if I'm not mistaken, since Cam Newton. Coming off, starting every single game, and then finishing as a top 5 quarterback.
Sure.
That is a mobile quarterback, but Cam Newton was a completely different breed. But
that's what I was going to ask you. When was the last time we saw a Cam Newton athlete at the quarterback position?
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's a different breed, and that's kind of what we're comparing Anthony Richardson to. We have been comparing Anthony Richardson to, is the likes of someone like a Cam Newton as a prospect.
Fields, right? Yeah.
So it is interesting. In a one quarterback league, are you still taking in these late rounds? Because we've always seen it: Geno Smith, Jared Goff, Daniel Jones over Anthony Richardson, or are you going Anthony Richardson now?
I think I'm going Anthony Richardson.
That's fair. How high? Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
My second question would be, how high are you taking Anthony Richardson in a super flex league? Because I just checked our latest mock draft. He went at the 5'11".
I'm happy with that, honestly.
Okay.
I'm happy with that. 5'11" sounds good. I was gonna say 4th round, but 5th round, anywhere in the 5th round, I'm kind of in now. So it probably sounds crazy, but when let me tell you my tier 4 in my rankings right now.
Sure.
Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. That's my tier 4.
Okay.
I think Anthony Richardson is the least safe name, but my God, he has the highest upside.
100%.
Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff. I could absolutely draft these guys, and if the rest of my team is solid, they're going to help me win a championship potentially. But they're not going to do it because of them. You know?
But you can lose because of Anthony Richardson.
I could lose because of Anthony Richardson.
Right.
And if I need to pick up a quarterback off the waiver wire, I think I can do that.
Sure.
I think there is like in a one quarterback format, you know, getting a starting quarterback, you and I know from experience, like there's 12 teams. We got 32 starting quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to find one to start.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's very rare that people are hoarding quarterbacks on their bench in that format if they know what they're doing. So I don't know, man. I just feel like that. And again, like I look at all these players in similar situation. Only Lamar hasn't returned ADP in similar situations when they led the league in rushing, and that's because of an injury. So
yeah.
I don't know. If they declare him starter, I'm in.
Yeah, I think they will, and we hopefully see him in some preseason games. Once again, Zach is all in. I'm assuming on both one quarterback and in a super flex. I am out in one quarterback in super flex. So if we had to choose one, I guess you could say I am out. But yeah, Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor. Sheesh.
Yeah. All right, well, that ends part 2. If you want to see part 1 where we talked about Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts, it's on the channel already. You can go check it out. Thanks for watching. Drop a like. And, hey, if you want help in your fantasy leagues, if you want access to our rankings, which are consistently changing, if you want, let's say, a team reviewed that you just drafted, if you want personalized advice through a DM, then use our code LAND when signing up to flockfantasy.com. That would get you 30% off your membership, and a Mother Flocker tier is going to get you all those perks and more. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next video. I wonder what people think about this.
I wonder.
I really don't know how people will take these videos.
Let's have the respectful conversation in the chat.
I stopped watching after you said you didn't like the player. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. Thank you. Make sure you like the video.
Have a good rest of your day, guys. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.